Hi
Okay.
everyone. Today we're hosting Hope from US. I'm very happy to host her here because she's the first female trader that we have in our channel at the moment. Welcome, Hope. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for inviting me, Seren.
You are very, very welcome. I'm very excited that you're here because I've been seeing you a lot on social media, and it's just so crazy to me that your journey is inspiring to me. So I thought that everyone can benefit from it. So I really appreciate you for coming here. Can you start by telling a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Hope. I'm Hope K Trades on Twitter. Um, I am 25 years old. I am a devoted wife, mother, Christian. I am one of four children from my parents, one of which who happens to be my twin sister, and I am a full-time day trader.
That's amazing. When did you go full time in trading?
I went full time actually 2 months ago. I jumped the gun. I am big on my faith, and something full time trading was always a dream of mine, and circumstances just kind of aligned for me to go ahead and just do it, be like Nike.
You were stacking payouts and then you thought, okay, I should go full time now.
Well, ironically, I'd actually just been working on my trading edge for a long time, and I actually decided I was going to go full time before my first payout even processed.
Oh, that's amazing. Because it's really a jumping point in trading that you quit your job and you go full time in it, because it changes a lot of things in the trading performance because
Yeah.
psychology changes, but it seems like you're doing a good job so far. So tell us a little bit about how this journey has started for you. When did you first hear about trading and how did you start getting into it?
Oh goodness. Okay, so for context, I was introduced to forex trading through the infamous group iMarkets Live. So I actually graduated high school when I was 16 years old with a goal to pursue the music industry. I was someone who enjoyed singing and songwriting. I had the privilege of working on a Paul McCartney music video. I've opened up for an R&B singer, and I just knew that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be the rich chick, since I was a little girl. And the thing is that my parents were not willing to send their child all the way back to Las Vegas, Nevada from Mississippi to go pursue music. And so I did not have a choice but to go to university at the University of Southern Mississippi, where I actually met my husband. But with that being said, I was still actively pursuing the music industry, and I got into broadcasting. And before broadcasting became what it is today, I built a really big following just singing and interacting with viewers. And that's ultimately what helped me pay for my schooling. And it was great for a long time. I mean, I did it until from 17 to 22. But with that being said, as a woman, you change from 17 to 22.
Exactly.
I'm not the same person I was even 2 years ago when I had my son. So, I mean, my body changed, my smile changed, how I look changed, and some the thing is when it comes to broadcasting, you're scrutinized very heavily on what you look like, especially as a woman. And after so many years, it became extremely taxing. I didn't love it anymore. And I was just looking for something I could do that didn't require me to look a certain way or act a certain way. I didn't really love the idea of corporate America, but I was an ambitious person. So, of course, I went that route for a long time. But in that time, I formed a lot of relationships with a lot of great people who are also broadcasting. And a guy named Corey introduced me to iMarkets Live. He was like, look, I'm sick of broadcasting too, with trading. You can do it wherever you want, however you want, doesn't matter what you look like. And that was like music to my ears, because at that point I was struggling with my identity of who I was outside of this chick who used to be a size zero who was streaming on a YouTube platform. So I'll never forget. They did like a boot camp before we even paid anything to do the iMarkets Live thing. It was like $235 at the time. And that was a lot of money for someone who was in college, who just graduated. Like I was that typical broke college student who was just making it essentially. And I lived on my own. Um, So I'll just never forget, they always used to advertise earn and learn, right? And they used to show signals. And at the time, I was working for a company and I handled their legals. So I was going to the court and doing like their jurisdiction and whatnot. And I saw a signal come across my Telegram, and it was buy the NASDAQ. And I had $100 in a KOT account. So I was a part of that flipping accounts era, right? And they always said, do not trade the NASDAQ if you don't have XYZ money. But again, arrogantly, I was like, I can do what I want to do. So I took the signal, and I'll never forget, I actually made $30 in less than 2 minutes with that signal. And I'm watching my phone and I'm just like in disbelief, and I closed the trade. I'm like, this can't be real. So I went and I withdrew it and put in my Bitcoin address to my Cash App, and it came to my bank in an hour. And I was like, oh, this is real. This is real. And I'm like, not only am I going to do this, I'm going to be the best at it. And like from that time, like, and this was back in July of 2020, I was like, I am going to trade for the rest of my life. Like, because if I can make $30 knowing nothing, like I had no idea what I was doing, what's possible when I actually do know what I'm doing. So that's how my journey started.
Exactly. And that sounds like you have been hustling all your life because not like hustling, but
Yeah,
like
I
very
gotcha.
hardworking. You were
Yeah,
doing something and you have been very successful at whatever you were doing. First, it was broadcasting, and then it was just commissions work, like
yeah,
sell something, get commissions, etc. And then you got into trading, from which I see from Funding Pips you have over like 27K
yeah.
payouts. It's impossible for someone who's just maybe at the start of their journey or just in the middle. But it's crazy to me that someone is just so hardworking and finally eating the fruits of all that hard work. And
Yeah.
I'm really happy for you. And to be honest, I'm quite inspired by the
Oh,
story that how your trading has started,
thank
because it's like it shows that whatever you do, if you're starting from scratch, even if you're starting from scratch, it's possible. It's
Oh,
possible to
absolutely.
do things.
Most
So I
definitely.
really liked it. But can you tell us a time that you had when you were feeling so down about trading? Maybe you felt the need to give up. Maybe you lost a lot of money. The hardest thing that you have encountered in your trading journey.
Um, so I can actually say for a fact, quitting trading was never an option for me. Like I said, I'm someone who's very extreme. I'm on one end or another. I really got to work on that. But I'm on one end or another realistically. And so the moment that I made that $30, I knew that I was going to take however long it took to make this work. But one trading experience that kind of kind of hurt me a bit was trading Bitcoin back in 2020 before the boom. So I lost my job about a month after I started trading, and it was God's plan. I'm so glad it happened that way. So it gave me months to really hone in and learn the art of trading. But I was trading Bitcoin. And I was one of those traders who was like, man, I'm not using a stop loss. What's that? What's a stop loss? Right. And I don't know if you remember the infamous flash crash that happened with Bitcoin.
In
Well, I
which year? 2001?
no
2021?
2021, that
In
big
May or in
yes.
April or March? Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah.
Well, that's it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'll never forget. I was holding a Bitcoin buy, and again, I was like, I didn't know what I was doing, but I just knew, okay, I'm withdrawing consistently. I'm making $1,000 a week. I am like hot stuff, right? And so I was trading Bitcoin, obviously over leveraging at that point or another. At the time, I had like $500 in the account. I was up 3 grand floating profit from a $500 account, and I went to sleep that night, no stop loss. And
Oh,
something just, my phone was going off. I was still a part of iMarkets Live, and I was actually giving out signals trading Bitcoin because in my opinion, I had a way of understanding that candlesticks look like ladders to me, like, or I should say, a staircase. It's good. You go up there's a stagnation, you go up, there's a stagnation. And I kind of saw candlesticks that way. And I'm like, as long as I see a stagnation, I'm entering. So people really thought I knew what I was doing, and probably arrogantly enough, I probably really thought I knew what I was doing too. So I was trading Bitcoin, and a lot of other people were trading Bitcoin along with me. I did not use a stop loss, and I'll never forget, my phone was going off at 11 o'clock at night. I'm sleeping, and I look down, and I see 20 messages from a bunch of people in my iMarkets Live group. And I look, and they're like, Hope, check your KOT, check your MetaTrader, check your MetaTrader. And I look, and I literally watched the account dwindle from 30. It was like 38, the highest it had been in floating. And I watched it go red, and my account was $9.53 after the flash crash.
Oh my God.
I lost the $500 in the account and the $3,800 floating. And I couldn't even cry. I was just so in awe that happened. And at the time, there was a guy who was also in iMarkets Life. He was like, Hope, what do you mean you didn't have a stop loss? And I'm like, I don't use a stop loss. And I was distraught. And that was probably the most gutting experience I've ever had trading. I started using a stop loss after that day.
You know, that's something that I think every trader has felt before.
Yeah.
If you don't feel that sunken feeling of losing everything, just an
Yeah.
account wise, or maybe literally everything.
Oh, at the time, it was everything for me. So
See?
it was, oh gosh.
And
Like,
until then, you don't appreciate good risk management. And
oh no.
after that, you never stop managing your
Oh,
risk because
I always had a stop loss. The stop losses may have not always made sense, but I had one, and that's what mattered.
okay, that's good to hear because I don't know what would happen if someone didn't use stop loss, especially while trading in prop firms. I can't
You're
imagine what would
asking for trouble, in
happen.
my opinion, when you're not trading. Like the return on investment with prop firms are so ridiculously high. Why wouldn't you protect that investment? Like I've done a little under 30K with funding pips in the last 2 months. And it's just like, that came from a $400 investment. That was a 100K account. And I've recently merged to 100K. So I'm looking forward to next week trading that and running that up too.
That's amazing, though. That's amazing. Can you tell the audience how much funded capital do you have right now, and how much of it is from funding pips?
Currently I have 500,000 total. 200,000 of it comes from funding pips, and I'm currently working on a challenge as well to become max allocated with you guys. And the other 300 comes from another funding company.
That's actually amazing. It's not a small amount because even just 1% is 5K, which is insane amount of money, whatever you live in the world. So it's pretty great. So on the screen, we see Hope's payouts. We can only see 3 payouts over here. I'll just leave the highest one because it looks the juicier to me. And
Yeah.
as a trader, this one makes me the happiest. But I have to say that there is also one other payout, which is over 8K, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
$8,000 and
$500.
600. So it's amazing. But apparently, that payout was from the time when US clients were not accepted. So
Yeah.
there is no certificate link. But in a minute, maybe Hope can show us her Funding
Yeah.
Pips dashboard and we can see the actual payout from there too.
Yeah, no
Can you
worries.
tell us a little bit of some of the key moments in your trading journey that got you here where you
Yeah.
are right now? It's over like 27K. It's not easy. It looks consistent. It looks profitable. So, what are some key moments?
So this time last year was when things really made a turnaround. And so I will say this, I'm not heavily influenced by too many traders. I never bought a course. I don't enjoy trading alongside people because a lot of us can be looking at the same chart and be seeing something completely different. And I want to be really objective when I'm looking at these charts because like it's money on the line at the end of the day. But there are three traders that made like a significant difference psychologically for me, and that was Swaggy C, Q Banks, of course, and there's one guy who I attribute my technical success to. His name is Oliver Velez. He actually did 35 years on Wall Street, and he broke down the importance of having a mechanical plan and understanding that I don't need to fight the market. My job is to execute my plan. So, in other words, my plan is the employee, and it's my job to fire the plan if it does not work. So, um, last February, he had talked about the importance of journaling. And I'm actually someone who enjoys journaling. So, the fact of the matter that I was not journaling my trades is just like, duh, what is wrong with you? But he was like, you need to journal how you got in, why you got in, the time you got in, and what the P&L was after the fact. And then after that's done, you journal how you were feeling. The moment that I did that, it changed everything. I only take 1 to 2 trades a day at this point. Once upon a time, in my flipping accounts era, I was taking 7, 8. I was holding just positions. Before I started journaling, I was taking 3, 4 trades a day. Something to take in consideration, though, when you're trading prop firms, you have that max drawdown a day, and you have your max drawdown total. I needed to figure out a way to know, no matter what, if I took a loss every single day, once a week, that I would not blow the account. So, in doing that, I discovered my risk parameters. It's 1% a trade, 2 trades max. However, if I'm ever in drawdown, I drop my risk in half. So I'm still taking 2 trades a day. So I'll go from risking a total of possible 2% a day to a total of 1% a day. And doing that with a positive RR expectancy, which my average is about 1 to 5, my account can survive, which it absolutely did. Actually, over the last 2 weeks, I was down almost 9%. And in one trade I think it was this Tuesday. This Tuesday.
That's crazy. That's yesterday.
Yeah, I was able to bring it up to 2.5% and request a payout. So now we're back in the saddle, ready for the next week.
It's crazy. It's so hard to believe. So I can't wait to see how you actually manage that, because for me, it's impossible to constantly find trades with like 1 to 8R, 1 to 9R. I know that is possible since you're doing it, and I know that you're genuine and legit. But as an idea, we all have this idea of high RR positions.
Yeah.
And like, the good thing about high RR positions is that your win rate doesn't have to be so good. Because
No, my
even
win
if
is actually low. That's the 9:30 bell for New York session. Sorry.
amazing.
Let me
If you need to trade, just
No, you're fine. I'm actually going to turn off my alarms. I have alarms for New York session, lunchtime. So yeah, like I said, New York session's my baby. So sorry about that.
this is crazy. This is crazy. You're actually committed to this game, and
Yeah.
you are. And you said yourself that you never wanted to give up. You knew you were gonna make it.
Oh
You
yeah.
knew you were gonna make it no matter what. And I can actually see that
Well, one
by
thing I
like
will say
setting
is,
alarms.
oh yeah.
It's extreme.
Well,
It's nice, and I like it.
oh, thank you. One thing I will say is early on in my journey, like I said, I lost my job when I first started trading. And like I said, I'm thankful to God for it. But one thing that I prayed for when I lost my job, because at the time, like I got contracted work for broadcasting, and it paid some of the bills, but it didn't pay all of the bills. And I'll never forget praying, and I was like asking God, I'm like, hey, if this is for me, please show me that I can be successful in it, right? And I'll never forget the first time I made $1,000 in a day trading Bitcoin at that point. And I just remember thanking God, like, oh my goodness, I know this is what I'm supposed to do. Mind you, I knew nothing. And I always say, like, if you're not tested when doing something, it's probably not the thing you're supposed to be doing. Everything's not supposed to come easy. So I think that was God's way of showing me, hey, you can do this, but now you need to put in the work. And so it took a very long time. Like, it took almost 2.5 years before I found my system, found my edge, and started executing it in the prop firm realm.
That's amazing, because it actually shows how you manage to be in that position right now. And there is also the past, especially
Mhm.
when you mentioned journals. I think they're just notes from our past
Mhm.
self, writing genuine stuff and telling the current self something that you should be careful about. And then
Exactly.
if you do this and this, the chances are you might fail. But if
Yeah,
you this and this instead, the chances are you're going to win. And I do
absolutely.
believe this feeling of success, that one day you're going to make it, and those believing in a higher power, that some like things are going to be all right, but you
Absolutely.
just have to put in the work first, because
Absolutely.
nothing comes easy, and you
Exactly.
have to give something to take something. And that's just how the universe works. Everything works in a balance, right?
Absolutely. And that's just what, like, without my faith, I would not be here right now. Like, I mean, I'm a Christian, like I said, and there's a scripture that literally says, "Faith without work is dead." I knew that. Yeah, I can believe all day long. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be successful, but if I don't put in the work, it's just a wish on a star at that point.
I love that. I can believe all that like word, but I need to study. I really
Exactly.
like that. I know that profitability can differ for everyone, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
like it can be defined differently for every trader. But
Mhm.
for you, when do you think your profitability started? Like, how long did it take you to be where you are right now?
I can say for a fact that I knew I was profitable 6 months ago. Or I should say, my system was profitable 6 months ago. I only trade US 30. I've only been trading US 30 for the last 3 years. I believe that instruments are like relationships. To really understand and get the maximum benefit from that instrument, you have to focus on that instrument. It's just like a relationship, like your person. I mean, I expect my husband to know if I have a headache to go get me a cup of coffee, because tonight I'm probably going through caffeine withdrawals. Like, he knows my ebbs and flows, and just like I know his. So in other words, I know, for example, on Tuesdays are the most volatile day for US 30, and they also are typically the most trending days for US 30. So while my average RR is about 1 to 4, 1 to 5, I can go for a 1 to 10 on a Tuesday and feel okay doing so. Um, so that, I think that was 6 months ago was when I really understood my system. But I will say it was 3 months ago when I started understanding myself the best. Like, okay, Hope, you're doing this consistently. It's in your journal consistently. This week, this is what you're focusing on. So, for example, I always use the phrase, confirmation is better than anticipation. I get in, my
That's
entry skill
good.
is getting in at the break of the candle. Well, sometimes those previous candles can look really good. And it's like, oh, if I could just get in there a little bit earlier, I could catch more points. It's never worth it. It's never worth the loss. And even though I risk that, I risk 1% a trade, I think that's a very small. Um, Even though I know that that loss is minor, the mental loss that I take from knowing, okay, Hope, you did that, you knew you were wrong, and you were suffering the consequences. That weighs a lot heavier on my mind than, okay, Hope, you followed your system, you executed the trade, it just wasn't your day. I could live with that. But what I can't live with is my own self discipline. So I'd say between the last 3 and 6 months, is what made all the difference in the world.
It's amazing to hear this growth because it's so recent, you know?
Yeah,
And it's so recent, so it's still fresh. You
it is.
are actually able to tell us every detail. So this sounds really realistic to me. And I think what changed a lot of things for you was the journal, like you said.
Oh
But
yeah.
like, can you tell us what was in those journals? Like, when did you start seeing yourself writing the same stuff over and over again? And when you read them, started to think like, okay, I need to change this apparently, because
Yeah.
I've been writing this shit for a long time.
Yes.
When did this happen for you? And
Yeah.
what was that certain thing?
So, so for example, I don't trade Mondays anymore. I've gone back and like I said, I color code everything you guys will see on my chart. My chart is very colorful. I am somewhat of a girly girl when it comes to colors, despite my favorite color being black. But yeah, so I journaled everything, and what I would start off with is I write down how many positions I took that day. My rule of thumb is I only want to take 1 to 2. If I see that I took 3 positions and I only made, call it $40 that day, that means I took a loss, I took another loss, and then I took a win, and it just covered those last 2 losses. That's not good enough for me. And it also means that that stop loss was too wide. At this point, I use a very fixed risk. It doesn't matter what's happening. My risk is between 20 and 25 points. Once upon a time, it was tighter, between 15 and 20. But March and April showed me that volatility can change. So 20 to 25 is optimal room to show me very quickly, is this trade going to go in my direction? And if not, it'll get me out quickly so that I'm available for the next move. So yeah, it tell me how many trades I took, what the news was that day, because news is very important. What the news was that day. So I know if it's a Thursday and there's 10 a.m. news, 9 times out of 10, the volatility at 9:30 is going to suck. And I need to wait until red folder news on Thursday at 10 a.m. to enter my position. I also write the time that those trades were executed. I realized that my sweet spot of executing trades is anywhere between 9:35 and 10:08. That is my sweet spot. And if you look at my Funding Pips dashboard, that is about the time that I'm entering all of my trades. And if it's entered outside that window, the chances of it being a loss is very high. So I've learned that about myself. And like color coding, was it a red day or a green day? Something that I've learned about my system, which is really great for me, is I can have 4 negative days and I can have 2 positive days and still come out with a positive expectancy and profit, which is why I just feel like it's so important to hone in on one instrument, because without that data, you truly don't know how to maximize your trading.
It's so interesting to hear a real trader's output on journaling. And I think you made good points when you said you actually get to know yourself when you're journaling and when you're writing in detail. Because, okay, price action is all about price repeating itself from over and over again. So if you're writing in a journal, which means that you're actually writing those price actions and your current emotions and your actions.
Exactly.
So it's
Exactly.
really something that every trader should be aware of. And
Absolutely.
for me, it's always those things that we write repeatedly that needs to be
Yep.
changed. Definitely.
But I realize that if I enter on anticipation, I am going to lose most times. That's just the reality. I'm going to lose most times. I rather wait for that confirmation of the break of the candle than enter my trade. And when I do that, my stop loss almost never gets hit. But if I'm not doing that, it's almost guaranteed to get hit.
Exactly. And you trade high OR positions,
Yep.
even though you say your win rate is low, that's what
Mhm.
keeps you afloated all the time, which is
Exactly.
quite good. And I'm quite curious about what
Mhm.
you do in the charts and how you approach the markets
Yeah.
and that color code stuff. So,
Yeah.
if possible, can you please show us a couple of your trades that you took while passing your account or getting your payout so
Okay.
that we can understand like what is this trader doing and how hope approaches the markets.
Absolutely. Alrighty. So, can you see my screen by chance?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm looking at YM. So a little side note, I look at the futures markets of the Dow Jones because it's the regulated price. On my chart, you can see this is yesterday's high, this is yesterday's low. I trade pivots, which is just support and resistance. It's just the subtraction of yesterday's low from yesterday's close. Yesterday's high from yesterday's close, and you get your central pivot range. And I trade moving averages. So if you look at Tuesday, like I said, everything is color coordinated. You have pre-market in red. I don't like to trade pre-market. It's not very profitable for me. So what happened is, like I said, I look for one specific candle pattern. many of people don't realize that candlestick patterns repeat themselves, and there are actually 4 major candlestick patterns that happen. I look for the most clear-cut pattern there is, and that is the engulfing candle. So as you can see, here we are, 9:30 open. We have this red, this black candlestick. I almost said red, right?
Yeah.
So this is my entry right here. As soon as I see this candle here, I am entering on this open. So I ran this trade on Tuesday all the way down to my VWAP, but my stop loss is only 20 points every single time, giving me a 1 to 7. And
And
for
why do you use a fixed stop loss all the time?
data. So back in the day, TradingView used to allow you to back test all the way back. And what I was doing, I would basically go through every moving average, because I don't think most people understand. They say moving averages don't work, but moving averages are nothing more than dynamic trend lines. So I use short moving averages to keep me in the intraday trend. What I realized was, when I was looking at each moving average, I was just taking my RR tool as high or low as it would take me. And then I would do it over and over again, see how low I could get my stop loss to give me the highest RR. Once upon a time, I would go for 15 points, and that still works in this case. But I realized that that's actually too tight of a stop loss. When I was doing a 15-point stop, I actually only had about a 25% win rate. So since March and April has happened, with higher volatility in the market, I have widened that to 20 points. I can actually show another example of the exact same thing.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah.
It's quite honest. Like, basically what you did was to adjust the stop loss and see how it goes, how the RR goes,
Exactly.
without actually hitting the stop loss. It's amazing.
Exactly. And I did that hundreds of times, and I just noted how many times it was hit with a certain, whether it be 15, 20, or 25. Obviously, I want the tightest stop loss as possible, because if I get stopped out, I need to get in on the next engulfing candle wherever the trend is going. So here's Monday. I do not trade Mondays anymore, because something that my journaling has explained to me is Mondays are statistically inconsistent with trend. So here we have the 15th of April. This is an anomaly. This happens 2 out of 4 Mondays. To me, a 50-50 shot at a profitable trade on a Monday was not worth it. So, but had I taken a trade on Monday, what I would have been looking at is this 9:30 candle here. While I love engulfing candles, the open is really important to me. The open was indecisive. So what I'm looking for is the next engulfing candlestick or a shadowed candlestick. So in this case, the shadowed candlestick is this one here. There's a shadow up top, there's a shadow on bottom. So what I would do on this particular trade, and I said I take the same exact setups every single time, is I am going to open this trade at the break of the candle, lower this all the way down to 20, no matter what, and I'm trading zone to zone. So this trade would have been 1 to 8, but once upon a time on a Monday, I would have taken this all the way to yesterday's low. And obviously this does not happen every time. I don't think I've ever caught more than a 1 to 15, but this is a 1 to 22 trading zone to zone against the VWAP. And something else that I will give a little hint for people to look forward to when they're trading US 30. I'm dropping a really big gem right now.
I'm very excited.
Asian session typically reveals what the New York session trend is going to be. So if you look, when New York session was open on Friday, Sunday night, New York session opened beneath yesterday's pivot range. And this is the pivot here. And by the way, pivots are free on TradingView. So if you ever want to back test this, it opened beneath yesterday's pivot. Therefore, I know for a fact when it comes to New York session, I am trading bearish. I am looking for bearish signals. The only time I am not looking for bearish signals is if this 9:30 candle had printed 100% bullish, I'd be looking for the other trend. I don't fade the market, as people say in sports betting. I don't fade the New York session trend. I always follow the trend. I do not fight the trend. But I would have known on Monday that this was a very high probability trade because these two lined up. Yesterday's close, this open is low, and so is the engulfing candlestick. And my colors are for the basic fact that white and black are very extreme. There is no denying that this is a black shadow up top, black shadow up bottom. That is enough for me to say that is an engulfing candlestick. I'm entering at the break of the candle.
This looks amazing. And don't get me wrong, it's very, very simple. And that's
It
a
is.
compliment, actually.
Oh, thank
Because,
you.
yeah, because everyone is so caught up on learning more, backtesting more, Of course, these are good things, but
Yeah.
there's also this reality that even without complicating a lot of things together, like traders can actually be successful, like you have been. And it's great to me to learn these things from other traders because yes, some can trade ICT, some can trade trend lines, some can trade like this as you using indicators, using pivots or anything. And
Yeah,
it's all about the data that you have and the
exactly.
statistics of it and the
Well,
mentality to keep that going.
people like really talk really badly about indicators, and I use indicators as translators of what's happening. You can say they lag all day long, but here's the thing: I'm not going to Italy without a translator. I'm not going to Italy without my Google Translate, just like I would not go to Turkey without my Google Translate. Why would I get into a market that's designed to hurt the retail trader without a translator? So my short-term moving averages and my VWAP always tells me what to expect and how to follow the trend. I'm a trend trader. I feel like most people should be trend traders. When I was in the very beginning of my journey, I was a reversal trader, and I would literally be looking for the top or the bottom of the move. And I just think that that's an arrogant assumption to make as a trader. So why not follow what it's giving me, you know?
Until you find it, you might lose a couple of accounts sometimes if
Exactly. It's not
you
worth
don't
it.
know how to manage the risk. I get that feeling. I'm a reversal trader, and it's exactly like you said. Maybe not because of arrogance, but because we think, okay, honest opinion, we think that if we actually catch the reversal of the trend, we can actually follow it till the
Mhm.
end and catch a bigger move, only to leave the trade at 2R, 3R. So it doesn't actually make sense to be a reversal trader. I understand this fact. And
Well, that's just it. Like I said, no hate on reversal traders in any way. Like I said, I can go ahead and claim like I was very arrogant when I got into trading. I said I was like, oh, I graduated early, I got my degree early, and like people are like, don't touch US 30. So because people like don't touch US 30, I'm touching US 30. Like I wanted to go against the grain completely. And the thing with trading is the more you go against the market, the more it's gonna humble you. And best believe I have been humbled several times and I got tired of it. And that's the thing. I think I'm living proof, especially trading US 30. You don't need to catch a reversal to catch big moves. Data will show you US 30 moves 300 to 400 points in New York session on average. It doesn't mean it's in one direction. Most cases, the 830 direction is different from the 930 direction. So you just have to be confident understanding, hey, I'm going to follow whatever trend the pre or post market is showing me, and I'm going to ride it. Like I said, I trade zone by zone. My levels are calculated on yesterday's high, yesterday's low, yesterday's pivot, and those are my take profit zones every time. They will never vary, no matter what what I feel. I know those are my zones.
that's actually amazing. And I don't trade US 30, but from what
Mhm.
I see from your screen is that you are definitely right that you don't have to catch a reversal to trade this pair because the trend actually moves massively. So
Yeah,
you are, if you can just catch the trend, you are able to catch a big move and do whatever you want with it for the rest
yeah.
of the day. And
US 30 respects market structure. It really respects market structure. And that's what I love about it. It's volatile. You can print some really extreme candles. You can make a living off 20 points trading US 30. Obviously, I'm going for the big swings, which is like I said, I go for minimum 1 to 5, 100 points minimum every single time. But I know that 100 points will cover my living expenses that month. And that's all I need to go for. So the key is just trying to get that at least 3 days out the week. I only trade 4 days out the week. Obviously, between payout times with the different prop firms, not all the accounts are traded at the same time, but my goal is to get my win rate anywhere between 50 and 60% over the next couple of years.
And I understand that, but can I also ask you, how do
Mhm.
you manage your accounts? Like, do you use the same risk management on all of them, or do
Absolutely.
you use the same strategy on all of them? And what is your goal while trading in props? Like,
Yeah.
for me, I say like 1% profit. Okay, I'll just leave it for payout. And what is your method of managing the accounts?
So I'm a firm believer in you take what the market gives you. You don't limit that and you don't set a goal for it. And that's why I've been successful this far.
That's very powerful, though. You don't
But
limit that, and you don't. Yeah, that's
exactly.
very.
Like again, with the RR I go for, if I'm risking 1%, $100,000 account, 1 to 5, that's a $5,000 day. Why would I limit myself to $1,000 when I know I can make five very, very easily? Or in this case here, had I traded Monday, that's a 1 to 22 R. That's a very rare day. I would gladly take that 1 to 22 R, and best believe they don't happen often. Like I said, US 30 on average is you'll maybe catch a 1 to 7, 1 to 8, one good days 1 to 10. But I'm kind of kicking myself for missing that trade.
For a month. Okay, but remind yourself that there was a reason for you
Exactly.
to write in your journal, like, don't trade on Mondays. There was a reason. So
And I think I even posted it on Twitter saying, like, I even had like people, I was like, what are your guys' opinions on trading Mondays? Because statistically, they're very inconsistent. Mondays range. Like the most consistent thing about Mondays is that they're inconsistent when it comes to their volatility. So why would I set
true.
myself up to
Now you
lose?
made me think. I was like, what do I do on
Yeah,
Mondays usually? And all I can say is that it is very consistent indeed. Like, I don't know
yeah,
what happens. I don't always win. I don't always lose. Is it like
yeah.
50-50? I have no idea, but I'll definitely check that out.
50-50 is not enough for me to go all in. So I want the sure thing. Like, for example, Wednesdays, there's a guy, his name is Doyle Exchange. I actually watched his journey. He's been trading, I think, a year or so longer than I have. Shout out to him. I watched his journey on YouTube go from working in a factory to living his dream full-time day trading, making hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he doesn't trade prop. He trades his own money. And that you asked about my goals. Obviously, I don't think I'll ever stop trading prop for the basic fact that the return on investment is amazing. Again, I paid $400 for a $100,000 account. I've turned around a little under 30 grand. I can't beat that. Like, I can't beat that. I
That's
don't
a
care
massive investment, though. When you have the skills, it's the best thing that you can do. Like,
what.
the margin wise, it's crazy. It's crazy. No
Absolutely.
matter what you do, you won't ever see those rates.
And that's the thing. I come from a sales background. I don't consider myself an extroverted person. I just think I have extroverted tendencies. I know how to carry a conversation, and I'm very persistent, but I don't enjoy sales. And it's just like, even in sales, I worked in tech sales in Atlanta, Georgia, and the money was great, but it wasn't worth the stress that came along with, oh, if this person's not feeling well today, that contract's not getting signed. I'm not feeling that. So, I mean, the market does not care what's going on, and it doesn't have feelings. So, no, honestly, trading US 30, it fit my personality the best. Obviously, I've dabbled into like Bitcoin and GJ and gold, but for my life, for the session that I like to trade, US 30 was the perfect fit.
That actually makes sense, that you don't settle with 50-50, and it makes so much sense to me, because I know for a fact that even though in this little time of knowing you, you sound more like an ambitious person, someone who does what she does till the end. It's gonna end well, or it's gonna end well. So I think it fits your personality. So my question to you is that, you can have losing streaks, right? And it's
Mhm.
very natural, and winning streaks. Of of course, I'm sure you have been blowing accounts before or now, because it's the part of the journey. But
Of
how
course.
do you deal with those emotions in a losing streak or when you blow an account? How do you feel, and how do you get out of that feeling?
Oh my goodness, it's rough. I can say from someone, like I said, I've done fairly well the last couple months, but I'm still very much still working on my stress management. I don't think anyone outside of a trader can truly understand the depressive episodes you can go through when you're in a losing streak or you blow an account. Like I told you, I have a twin sister. She's my best friend. She knows nothing about the market, but she's heard me talk about it every single day for the last 3 years. And she was like, "Did you get in on an anticipation candle, Hope? Is that what you did, Hope?" Like she's very
Because she knows what you say about confirmations over anticipation.
exactly. And she was like, she knows, and she was like, well, what could have you done different today? And then there are some days that again, it's just not my day. The market did not respect my stop loss, and that's just it. And she's like, Hope, it's one day, and she knows risk to reward. She's like, isn't your risk to reward very high? What are you crying for? So she's very blunt with
She's
me, and
merciless.
well, with
She's
my
yeah,
personality, she knows that I need that because with
yeah.
again, like with someone who's used to achieving a lot early on, like I said, there was a sense of arrogance that I've had to grow out of. And the market has helped me in that area so much that she knows if she doesn't say it to me straight, I'm going to be hard headed. So between her, my mom, and my husband, who also, again, they're not traders, but they understand like when Hope says she's going to do something, she's going to do it. So make sure she's on her, her I's and T's. So just having an awesome support system and honestly, like I said, relying on my faith has been the biggest contributor. My faith in my statistics. I know that God's going to get me through whatever's happening. And I also know the data backs that up as well. So just believing that and not switching the strategy. I was a strategy hopper for a very long time. And it's just like, how could I know if it works if I don't give it time? It's like owning a
Exactly.
factory. If you're switching your lineup, how are you going to produce a product that can be replicated? I needed a system that I could replicate every single day. And I found that over the last several months.
It's amazing. And I agree with you in terms of the support system that we all need.
Yeah.
Because usually, as traders, if we don't have many traders around us, I know you said you don't like trading with others,
Mhm.
but this support system is something different. When you tell a friend that, oh, I blow an account and I feel bad, and they say, okay, you'll make it again. It's not the end of the world. But
Yeah.
deep down inside, you know that it's not the end of the world,
Yeah.
but you still don't feel understood because that person is not trading. But I am
Exactly.
really glad that even though your sister doesn't trade, she
Yeah.
was a good support system for you, and that helps you actually, because it's
Yeah.
important. If you don't have trader friends, it's really hard to find a support
Absolutely.
system like
Well, that's
this.
one thing I can say. Like, I'm not someone who is flashy. I'm not materialistic in any way. Said long-term goals. Obviously, I would love to retire my father. My husband has goals of owning a gym one day. He's a personal trainer. He does very well doing that. So it's just honestly building portfolios and helping the people that I love. But I started posting my journey on Twitter when I was funded with my Forex funds. So just to show people, hey, things happen, people blow accounts, but you come back. And my following has been doing really well. I think just people appreciate transparency that it's not all sunshines and rainbows, but there is a positive expectancy to be had.
Exactly. Because for me, what makes a trader successful is it's not that they don't blow any accounts. It's that even if they do, they know that they're going to get it back because they have the skills. But for you, what's a successful trader?
Um, So I think you literally just said it. I think someone who has a mechanical system that they can replicate every single day, no matter what's happening. Obviously, one day I would love to build a bot to recognize my trading strategy. That's goal. Just let it do its thing. I'll always trade, but I think that's something I would love to do. But also someone who can recognize. Sometimes the market sucks, and sometimes an opportunity doesn't present itself, and being okay with that. That's something I'm actually working on right now. No trade days are hard for me because it's like, like I said, I do this full time, so it's okay. I do this full time, so it's something that I need it. It's almost like an adrenaline rush. I know I have like major anxiety when trading, and that's something that I'm still struggling with. But just someone who knows how to take the market for what it is and live freely beyond that.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. And like some ways you sound so inspiring that I find myself like drifting away, like having some daydreams about like, okay, I'm gonna do this and that because the things you say actually gives me hope about my trading as well.
Oh, thank
So
you.
yeah, thank you for that. Um, and from what I see, in my definition of a successful trader, you are one of them. So,
Oh,
as a
thank
successful trader, what would you advise the other traders out there that who are starting new in their journey or who have been studying a lot but couldn't find profitability yet?
I'm a firm believer in failing forward. There's nothing wrong with failing. There's nothing wrong with blowing accounts. I've failed a lot, but being graceful when you're failing. Um, there comes a point in time where you need to stop absorbing information about trading, and really hone in on the information that you have. So that's number one for me. Number two would be journaling everything about your trading. I would not be where I am right now if I didn't recognize those patterns. And once upon a time, before I had my son, I had the best memory. Kids change you, but I had the best memory, and I thought, oh no, I can recognize when something is happening. But honestly, when it comes time to push that buy and sell button, you can't tell me that no one feels nerves. It's definitely nerve wracking. Regardless if you have the best RR, the smallest stop loss, you're still putting money on the line. So having a tool that you can recognize and go back on, like, okay, I'm making this exact same mistake every day. So this week, what I'm going to work on, this is exactly what I did. I'm going to work on only sticking to 1 to 2 trades no matter what. I don't care what happens. And then the next thing is, okay, I'm going to work on only getting it on the break of a candle of a confirmation. I'm going to work on that until I've killed that habit. And so just doing that. And like I said, I don't trade with a community, but Twitter has opened me up to meeting so many amazing traders. Having that chat after your session is so important. Talking with people who aren't just, oh, buy my course, I'm flexing this. Like actually talk to people who are on the journey. And I think Prop World has given that to us. You just got to find your tribe, and I found mine.
That's an amazing thing to hear because, like you said, I know that you have a support system. You have your sister, you have your husband, and it's a
Yeah.
wonderful feeling. But there's also this support from other traders
Yeah,
because sometimes if we're going through a rough patch, it feels nice to hear that someone else has been that rough
absolutely.
patch too, so that we don't feel that lonely anymore. We know that,
Exactly.
okay, so it means that it's going to pass.
I do agree with you though. Finding a community in the prop world and the discords that Funding Pips has available has worked wonders for me. I have gained some really great friends that we talk every single day. We trade different pairs, and I think that's also really important. Talking to people that don't trade your pair, like the people that I talk to trade gold, they trade GJ, and so we can. And most of the time, those pairs have confluence. So I know that we're on the same page.
Exactly. So it makes a lot of sense, the life that you have right now. So I think
Yeah,
it's a good thing. And lastly, I want to ask about your experience in funding pips. You are from US, things
yeah.
have been happening with prop firms and etc. But can you tell a little bit of the experience you had in funding pips?
Yeah, so funding process has been amazing. Honestly, like I said, my first prop firm was the OG prop firm FTMO, and I've been funded with some of them after that. But like, I just remember, so when I started documenting my journey, Khaled was on Twitter, and there's a lot of people who had a lot of respect for him. And my thing is the humility that he showed about his prop firm. Um, I feel like you get what you pay for. So the cheapest is not always the best, but Khaled had a way of intertwining quality and great pricing in one in amazing conditions. So that's what's kept me, which is why I said I will be starting my challenge to be max allocated with them. I've actually just requested my scale up with my 200K account. So I look forward to getting that. But I would recommend Funding Pips anywhere. I'm glad they started accepting US traders. I was so sad when they pulled from the market, but they found a solution, and I hope they'll be here forever.
Thank you for your words. It's actually very nice to hear
No worries.
because these are genuine experiences and it teaches us what we should keep doing or what we shouldn't. And it's always empowering to hear all of this. So thank you for saying that.
No worries.
Before we conclude this interview, do you have any last words for anyone watching you out there? Maybe to inspire them, maybe to advise them, or maybe to warn them in trading?
Yeah, trading is truly an all or nothing game. You're either in or you're out. I don't think it's something that you can dabble in. I don't believe it's something that could be a hobby. You have to genuinely love what you do because it's brutal. So if you want to get into trading, understand that it's going to come with some tears and it's going to come with some heartache. But I can officially say I've made it out on the other side. I've funded my personal account. I am trading prop accounts, and I can see the future that I want for myself and my family. And it's been the most rewarding feeling ever. So just remembering it, everyone has their trials in trading. It's going to happen, but once you get across that hurdle, it's the best feeling in the world.
It's good advice upon future because yeah, maybe someone who's watching us right now isn't profitable yet, but doesn't mean that it's going to stay this way forever because there's also something that everyone can do. Thank you, Hope, for being with us today. It meant a lot knowing you and seeing successful traders and actually getting to know them every day. It's just so amazing because the journey is just so inspiring and it's just so genuine, real, and you know that it's legit.
Yeah.
And I really like to meet a lot of traders for this reason only because it teaches us a lot, maybe in terms of psychology, maybe in terms of a mentality, like how you approach the markets, like what are your thoughts on back testing or trading, etc. It teaches us a lot. So I hope anyone who watched this video actually found valuable information in it. So thank you for joining in.
Thank you so much. It was so great talking to you, Sren.
Thank you very much. And anyone watching us right now, thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.